Hey y'all, welcome back to my live show. I'm Shanta Prince, and I help women coaches build their personal brands. And then I help them to create their high ticket offers, and then I help them to get paying clients. So normally I'm live at 12. Today I had a really important call that ran over. Actually, I left the call a little bit earlier because I was thinking about you guys. So I was like, I got to get to my people. But today I want to talk about a really important topic when it comes to growing your business. And it's something that I see quite frequently that people do when it comes to having a coaching business, having a consulting business. And sometimes I've even had conversations with my clients around this thing. And what it is when you're a coach or a consultant or a mentor in any capacity, you when you're teaching, when you're sharing, when you're coaching, when you're serving, you give out a lot of energy. And to the point where sometimes when I'm working all day, when I'm strategizing with clients, when I'm coming up with ideas, sometimes that's like my coming up with ideas is my strongest gift. And I just recently discovered that, and it was such an incredible experience. I always knew that I could come up with ideas pretty quickly, but I didn't realize like that's like one of my is my strongest gift. So for me, I am a thinker, and my mind, my brain, that is like my strongest like asset, right? That is my jam. Anything with thoughts, anything with ideas, anything with strategizing, that is in my space. And so for me, I could get exhausted all day from using my brain all day, right? You know how some people they have those jobs where they do like heavy labor and things like that, and those jobs are exhausting. Well, for me, my brain does heavy labor, and so at the end of the day, after strategizing and coming up with ideas, like I'm like my brain is done. And so that is the number one way that I make money is with me helping my clients to strategize and helping them with ideas for how they can grow based on what they want to do and based on their personality type. And so if I'm giving like a ton of effort to my clients, and I really go hard for my clients. If any of my clients, they will tell you, any of them will tell you that I go hard for all of my clients. So because of that, and this is for you too, because when you're serving people, you're really putting in some real effort to serve people. It's really important for you to stop working with people who are not coachable. Okay. Stop working with people who are not coachable. Okay. This is what I mean by that. There's a difference between someone, this is how you're going to figure this thing out, right? There's a difference between someone who is coachable and someone who is not. Someone who is not coachable, number one, they don't trust your process. If you're teaching them how to make their first $50,000 in coaching, and they don't trust your process, that's probably someone who is not coachable. But it doesn't necessarily mean they're completely uncoachable. It could mean they're just not coachable by you. Maybe you're not the right coach for them, and that's perfectly okay. You got to be okay with that. And I tell people all the time, I'm probably not the right coach for you. I'm not the right person to help you to be able to do this. And when I say this in all seriousness. You have to stop working with people who aren't you're giving your energy and they're not receiving it. And it is exhausting enough to work so hard to serve people. If you're giving and giving and giving and someone is not receiving it, then it's time for you to cut that relationship or cut that business, whatever kind of relationship it is. If it's a business relationship, it's time for you to cut that relationship. I had worked with one of my clients to fire some of her clients because they were absolutely draining. They weren't giving her the things that she needed to be able to do her part. And so at some point, she became exhausted with chasing them down and constantly asking them for the same information over and over and over again. And she ended up cutting them off so that she can actually grow. And I know it sounds kind of backwards, right? Like why would I cut people off if I want to grow? It works. If you have someone who's constantly draining your energy and you're pouring out all of your effort, when you cut them off, you can use that energy to do something more productive. Okay. So number one, that person who is not coachable by you, They don't trust your process. Let me give you another example. I had a client once before who she would constantly bring me information from other people that she had listened to or other people that she had worked with. And there's nothing wrong with that. I believe that there's enough, there's enough success out here for everybody. I'm not the only person who teaches branding, but I am the only person who teaches it the way that I teach it, right? I'm not the only person who helps to write offers and write copy and things like that, but I'm the only person who does it the way that I do it, right? And so she would constantly bring me like someone else's stuff, and it would be things that I don't teach. And so for me, it became very complicated because she constantly would bring me to say, well, I heard that, we're supposed to do this with our programs. What do you think? And so you guys, like, I cannot tell you how like frustrating it is to work so hard to teach some things and to have a client who's constantly bringing you somebody else's material. And it's not in a I don't mean this in like a nasty way or like a jealous way or anything like that. Or, I mean this with all goodness. That it's frustrating when you've got your concepts and your process and your strategies laid out, to have someone who's paying you, bringing you someone else's stuff and saying, well, what about this? Well, what about this? And what about this? That can get really exhausting when the client never logs in to look at the information that's already available to her or shows up for the sessions. So that is an example of a person who is uncoachable by you. And for me, I'm okay with that. If we're not a good fit, I'm perfectly okay with that. And you can go and find someone else, because I believe that there's somebody out there for everybody, right? There's somebody out there for everybody. And I believe that when you decline to work with someone, that there is someone out there for them. Okay. So that's an example of a person who was uncoachable, right? And in that instance, it became immediately known that this is a person who does not trust my process, and this is a person who is uncoachable by me. And the reason why this is so important is because when you've got when you have one person or a few people who are constantly draining your energy, that takes away from your ability to serve your other clients who are receiving information, who the ones who are applying what you teach. That takes away your ability to serve them at optimum levels. Okay. And so sometimes you just got to cut the dead weight. Okay. So they don't trust your process. And the other way that you know that a person is uncoachable, this is another thing, you guys. And this is coming from both ends, right? I'm a coach who's helping you to understand some things, but you have to look at this from where you're sitting as well. Do you want to work with someone who you're constantly pouring out to and they're not receiving what you have to say? No, you don't. I will tell you right now, it's exhausting. I'm so thankful that right now I have some of the best clients. My clients are so awesome. And every time I meet with them, I just want to like brag about them because they're so amazing. I really have the best clients. God has blessed me with some awesome women, some purpose driven women. And I'm so thankful right now that I have the best, I have the best client group right now. They're very powerful and they're very driven and they have big calls on their lives. And so I'm just blessed to be able to serve them and be a part of them bringing their vision, manifesting their vision. And so if I had a client at this moment who was draining me, then that takes away from my ability to serve them. And I don't want to be in that space where I'm not able to serve my clients at optimum levels. And most importantly, not only my clients are paying me for results. So I want to be able to be clear, I want to be able to be focused, and I want to be able to help them to get those results. So a person who doesn't trust your process, they're uncoachable, they will drain you. So another way that you know that someone is uncoachable by you is when you give them instructions on how to accomplish things, they do the exact opposite. Can I tell y'all like how and then like I said, I mean this in all goodness, but it's frustrating when you work really hard. Like if you're already connected to me, if you're on my email list, if you've been in any of my workshops, you know how I teach, you know my methods. And so when I teach with my whole heart. And I'm very giving when I teach. And even though I've invested a lot of money in my own business education and in my own personal development, when I give, I freely give. Okay. And so it's really frustrating to give so much and you're really passionate about helping someone to win. It's just like if you're telling someone, like the other day I was helping my daughter with some schoolwork. So sometimes she struggles because when she's trying to do her schoolwork, when she's working on answering the question, she's really not answering what she's been asked. Like the question will be one thing, but then her response will be something like that's not really answering the question. So I've been really teaching her how to answer what she's being asked and also how to go back to the text because she thinks that the question, whatever the task is at hand, that she's expected to already know this stuff. And so I'm trying to teach her how to go back to the text to find the answer that's being asked of her. And so that takes a lot of effort and a lot of patience, right? So can you imagine if I'm working really, really hard to teach her and then I give her the instructions on how to do this and then she does the opposite, right? Thank goodness she doesn't do that because I don't have a lot of patience, and I'm really open about that. I do not have a lot of patience, and so when I really want to put forth the effort to have patience, it means I really care about the person. Like if I, because I'll just if someone is forcing me to become something that I'm not, then I'm like, okay, look, we gotta cut this off. Like if you're forcing me to get out of pocket or act out of character, then it's time for this relationship to be over. But so with me, I have to like, calm down some and really have patience when I'm working with her so that she can accomplish her goals. But if I was in a place where, I'm constantly teaching her and like she's doing the opposite of what I'm doing, I may be like, girl, we got to get you a tutor because you and I are not going to work out. Well, it's like that with when you're working with clients. If you're working with clients and you're constantly giving them the instructions and the guidance on what to do because you've been there and you know how to do that and you know what works and you know what doesn't work. And I'm one of those people. Like I'm very open about the mistakes that I made in business, the failures that I've made, the things that I've overcome. And so I share those things with my clients. So one of my clients is saying, this is what I want to do. I can tell them, okay, if you want to do it that way, then these are the things you need to look out for. And these are the things you need to make sure you're covering. If they're not listening or if they're not heeding what I'm saying, then that could become really frustrating. I'm not talking about I need, yes people all around me because that's not the case. Because each one of my clients are different. And so I help them to come up with strategies that work for them. For example, I tell all of my clients to do live video. Like that is the number one way to build trust right now is with video. Well, on most platforms. I don't think video performs as well on LinkedIn, but you get what I'm saying. Video builds trust quickly because people can see your face. So I tell all my clients to do videos. I'm always encouraging them to go live, share those videos. However, I have one client who's like, I'm absolutely not doing video. So that's okay, right? So I don't need her to say, okay, yes, Shanta, because you said do video, I'm going to do video. And some of my clients do. They're like, okay, look, I trust her. I'm paying her. This is what we're doing. But there are other ways around things. So for my client who did not prefer being on video, she found a really awesome way to drive her clients to the direct messages by using Clubhouse. And we worked together on her strategy. So we thought we got together and we were like, okay, so we got to think of another strategy for you so you don't have to do video. So the strategy works for her, and she was closing sales consistently by being on audio, which is Clubhouse, and driving people to her direct messages. And then we worked on her direct messaging strategy so she can close sales in direct messages. And that's how she got her clients on a regular basis. Clubhouse to direct messages to closing the sales. And so I just said all that to say that there are different ways to help to serve people. And I'm not saying that you have to have people around you who don't agree with everything that you're talking about, or they have other strategies that they want to try. When my clients come to me and they have a different idea for how they want to do something, I'm the idea person. I just told you that that's one of my strongest gifts. we can come up with an idea for another way for you. But the thing is, if you're not receiving what I'm working so hard to give you, then this relationship is not beneficial for either one of us. If you're not receiving and I'm working really hard to give and I'm exhausted, then this relationship has got to stop. And the only way you're going to grow is to cut some of those relationships. So, and this is another reason why I encourage my clients to get on Zoom with people or any other type of video meeting platform to meet with people before they join their programs. I don't mind turning people away from my programs if I don't think they're a good fit. If I'm working with someone, I talk to a lot of people on a regular basis. And if I'm giving you free information and if I get on a call with you or if I'm giving you free information and I notice immediately that if I say, okay, if you want to do this, okay, this is the way to do it. You got to do A, B, and C. Okay. And the person says, okay, well, thank you, but I'm going to do X, Y, Z. Okay. That's okay. Everybody has the right to choose, right? That's perfectly okay. They have a right to choose. I also have a right to choose. So if I'm saying you got to do A, B, and C to get where you're trying to go, and they're saying, okay, but I'm going to do X, Y, Z, that person is not coachable. And many times I discover that before I even get on the call with them. I can find out if somebody is coachable or not before I meet with them, before I get on the call with them. And that person I will not work with. I don't want to work with people who are uncoachable by me. And you should not either. Okay. So when you get to the point where you're like, okay, yes, we want to make money in business, right? But I promise you, your people are out there. We want to make money, but at the end of the day, if you're going to stress me out, if you're going to cause me undue frustration, then I'm most likely not the coach for you. And I'm pretty sure that there's someone out there who is. It's just not me. And I'm okay with that. Okay. And you got to be okay with that to know, okay, wait, this is not the right person for me. But God will send your people to you. But you have to be able to enjoy doing business. When I get on with my clients, I'm excited to get on with them. Like we laugh, we talk, we joke. Every now and then we cry together. Like there's just it's just an amazing time. That is what I want in business. I want to be happy. I want to have fun. I don't want to I don't want my coaching night to come and I'm dreading like, oh my goodness, I got to get on with my clients tonight. I don't want to feel like that. I want to feel like how I feel now. Like, yes, I get to get on with my clients. I get to hang out with them. I get to help them to strategize. And so I'm just so blessed. But when I tell you the stuff that I'm teaching you, I know from experience, it is better for you to not take on someone who is uncoachable by you, so you can grow your business. And sometimes you got to let people go so you can grow too. You have to let some clients go. If you got those headache clients, fire your clients, right? That's a concept that not too many people are talking about. Sometimes you got to fire your clients so that you can level up and so that you can grow. You don't need that kind of energy around you when you're trying to grow, right? When you're working hard, when you're praying, when you're seeking God for your future, but then you're working on an implementation phase of it, you need to be in a place of creativity, a place of peace, a place of joy, not in a place of frustration. You guys, it's not that serious, right? At the end of the day, I would rather give someone their money back. Even though with my clients, we both sign an agreement, right? They commit to some things and I commit to some things for them, right? And we both hold up our ends of the bargain. But at the end of the day, I would rather give someone their money back than to deal with a headache. And this is something that you really have to think about when it comes to business. When I first started, I thought I had to work with anybody. I thought I had to work with any and everybody who wanted to work with me. But I learned very quickly that that's not the case. I do not have to work with someone if I don't feel like they're going to be a good fit for my program or a good fit for me. Okay. But like I said, they'll always find the person that who's right for them. So if you're one of those people who feel guilty for turning people away, don't feel guilty because someone is out there for them. So for those of you who are on my email list, you have been getting emails from me all week about how to launch your coaching program. If you have not been getting my emails, or if you want to get on my email list so that you can get the How to Launch Your Coaching Program series, just send me a direct message and let me know that you want to get on the list so you can get the series. So on the first day, we talked about the foundations of what it takes to launch a program, just to give you the overall idea or concept of launching and what it takes. And then on the second day, I talked about some things you need for launch, and I talked about what's absolutely needed and what can wait until later. So that way you can plan and think about what tools you want to use for launch and what tools you want to leverage, but also understanding, oh, you know what, that can wait till later, and I'm going to focus on the things that I absolutely need right now. And then we talked about today when when the email goes out, we're going to talk about some tips and strategies for launching. So those emails are going out all week, and they're going to continue. So you can still get in on the series. And I actually set it up to where if you want to join my email list today, you'll get the first installment of the series. So we did part one, part two, and part three, and we're going to continue on with that series. So part four will be going out today. So if you're interested in launching your program, I'm pretty sure from this series you'll get a really great idea of what it takes to launch your program. I think that sometimes when you're not in it or you haven't done it, it can be confusing and overwhelming because there's so many different moving pieces. And so with this email series, I'm really laying out everything you need to know for how to launch your program so that you can start planning your next launch. And this is something that I actually work with my clients on. I have a couple clients right now who are working on launching their programs right now. And if you follow me, you have heard me talk about how many times I've launched something that did not work, right? How many times I've tried to launch a program or launch some kind of class, and it just didn't work. But I also talk about the really successful launches that I've had as well. So a lot goes into it, and I can't even count how many launches I did. Maybe I would say roughly maybe 10 to 12, where I'm taking all of my insights and pouring into this series on how to launch your coaching program. So day one, like I said, was all about the foundations. Oh, I didn't tell you what part. Okay, we'll get to part day three. So day one was all about the foundations of launching, and just to give you an overall picture of what it takes to launch. And then on the second day, we talked about the tools and systems that you need to launch, what's necessary, what's not necessary. And then on day three, we talked about how to start prepping for your launch. What do you need to do to start getting yourself prepared for your launch? No one can just, well, you could, but it probably wouldn't be successful. But typically, no one just pops out of nowhere and just does a launch, right? Typically, there's some preparation that goes into launching. So, yesterday was all about explaining what it takes, or what it takes to start prepping yourself for a launch. And then today's series, the part four of the series will be going out today. So if you want to get on that list, if you want to get the series, just send me a quick message and let me know, or you can comment on this video and say, "Hey, Shanta, can you add me to the list so I can get the How to Launch Your Coaching Program series?" Okay. All right, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Thank you for those of you who show up and then you guys share my videos out. I appreciate you so much. And also thank you for the referrals. I've been getting messages from some of you saying, "Hey, I referred my friend to you, or I referred my relative to you." I appreciate you guys from the bottom of my heart. So I'll be back next week at the same time. So I'll see you guys again on Thursday. If you're in my Facebook group, you'll be seeing me inside the Facebook group. If you're not in my Facebook group, come on over and join my Facebook group, Purpose Driven Coaches and Mentors. And I'll be seeing you guys again soon. Have a great week and a great week.